Hello and welcome back to the Squirrel Heed YouTube channel, and what I'm going to do today is I'm going to try and sum up Liverpool's transfer window, as obviously now our transfer window is just finished and other people's transfer windows or other leagues' transfer windows have also closed as well, which has been quite vital for us as well, waiting for other transfer windows to close, which is kind of ridiculous in itself. Every transfer window around Europe, maybe even the world, should just be one deadline day, and it closes for everybody, so then you're not having to worry about, having, like, say for example, La Liga's transfer window end the day after the Premier League's. That puts a lot of pressure, doesn't put a lot of pressure on, but it can, say if, for example, Barcelona did pull off the Coutinho deal the day after ours had closed. That's ridiculous in my opinion. And the same with, there was apparently going to be a bid back from Barcelona with Ozil, or whatever was going to happen, were they going to come back in for Sanchez, or were they going to come in for Sanchez? Look, it's ridiculous in my opinion to have different dates for different transfer windows and different leagues, but that's just my opinion. It should all just be one. Now, moving on from that one, let's look at Liverpool in general for their transfer window, and I'm going to give them a grade of a C. Now, I think Sky Sports had given us a B minus or even a B, perhaps like that. I'm giving us a C because while we brought in some good players, we did not strengthen what I believe is our weakest, maybe not necessarily weakest, but obviously I'm not a fan of Lovren. I'm talking about the centre-back position. It doesn't have the most depth. You look at left-back and right-back, we've got 3 players there in each of those positions, so we've got some depth in there. Midfield, we've got depth. Up front, we've got depth. Centre-back, we don't have depth. And even goalkeepers, we don't have depth of quality. Carrier still looks very suspect. Mignolet, he does okay. He does well. He's not a standout like a world-class goalkeeper. He's not like a David De Gea, a Courtois, even a Jack Butland in my opinion. I think Jack Butland is a very underrated goalkeeper who's been plagued by injury. But that's just my personal opinion. We do have a young goalkeeper in Ward who probably won't get much of a shout. Might in some cup competitions, but it depends how we're doing at that point. Let's look at the players that we actually brought in though. So let's have a look first of all at bringing in Andrew Robertson. Looks like one of the most natural left backs that we've had for such a long time. One of our weakest positions that we've had in recent history. Maybe not even recent history, even in the last 9 or 10 years as well. He looks like an actual out-and-out left-back. He scored for Scotland last night in what was a beautiful, beautiful left-foot curl top corner for Scotland. And he looks like he will do the business for Liverpool. When he's played for Liverpool, he looks really, really good. He looks defensively sound. He's got very good crossing ability as well. And he just seems a little bit more intelligent. Quite a lot more intelligent, actually, than, say, a Moreno, who, while is attacking very, very good, does not come back and do the defensive work very well, in my opinion. So that's just my opinion. I think Andrew Robertson is a great acquisition. Dominic Solanke is another one that I do believe is a great acquisition for us as well. While he might not get a shot, it's going to be very difficult right now to take someone like Firmino out of the team. But I think when it comes down to it, when you've got all the cup competitions that we'll be in, he should definitely get a shot in there as well at some point. So I do think that he'll get his chance. It just might not be straight away. For me, I'm a big fan of him. I thought he did very, very well in pre-season. He's still a young lad, and for me, he is the reason why Divock Origi has been sent out on loan to Wolfsburg, because right now, Dominic Solanke is ahead of Origi. And I said that, I said it maybe a couple of weeks ago in some transfer videos and other videos as well. I do believe that Solanke is ahead of Origi, and that I don't say it's being proven right, but Origi's out on loan somewhere else and Solanke's with us. So that only tells me that, Klopp maybe feels the same. Now we're going to look at, obviously, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, who, off the back of an Arsenal performance against Liverpool, didn't look very good at all. But you kind of have to put that aside, if I'm being honest. Arsenal made a mistake, in my opinion, by playing 2 players that quite clearly didn't want to be there, in Alexis Sanchez and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, they did not want to be there. They knew that they'd rejected contracts and stuff like that as well. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, he turned down 180k a week from Arsenal. He turned down 220k a week from Chelsea to take 120 grand a week from Liverpool. Okay, so what that tells me is that while it's still ridiculous money, come on, it's football. It is ridiculous wages we're talking about here when someone's getting paid 120 grand a week, but he took the less money option to come to us because he wanted to play for us. That tells me a lot more about his character. And I don't like using that, that Brendan Rodgers phrase of character, but it is that tells me a lot about the guy, that he actually wanted to come to us and wanted to play for us, a team that he supported as a kid. So I'm happy about it in some ways. I'm not unhappy about it, don't get me wrong. If he was wanting first team football in the centre mid position, he's going to struggle to break in there. But if he does break in there, or he does get a shot in there, I think he will give us something different to what we have at the moment. He has pace, which is one thing that our midfield doesn't necessarily have. Probably the fastest player, if we're talking just midfielders, would be, say, Coutinho, maybe Lallana, Wijnaldum on a good day. Emre Can can sometimes get some good pace on him if he gets a good straight line run. But he does have pace and he's got some good movement as well. He did play well for England last night, but it was only against Malta. So I'm not really taking that one into too much consideration either. It just, for me, I think he's going to, if anything, he's going to give us depth right now. He gives us numbers in the midfield that we kind of already had, but he does offer us something a little bit different as well. Having that pace, technical, because what you've got to look, technical proficiency with his feet, footwork and stuff like that, which I think he will only develop under Klopp, and Klopp will unlock his potential, I believe. I have to believe that, and I think everybody kind of does. If you're negative about these transfers, then fine. Maybe you enjoy being negative about Liverpool, and maybe you enjoy being negative about our transfer window. But in my opinion, he's still only 24 years old. He is the same age as Sadio Mane. We have young people in this squad that are doing very well already. So he's only going to, by playing alongside these players in training, whatever he's going to be doing, he will only improve. And to be honest, he'll have to improve, because otherwise he will get left behind. That is just the fact that it is at Liverpool. You do not get in this team, maybe unless you're a goalkeeper, because we don't have many, or Lovren for some reason, who still gets in the team. But apart from those, you do have to prove it week in, week out, because in that midfield, anybody not performing, there's enough midfielders and people to come back, like Coutinho to get reintegrated, like Lallana to come back from long-term injury as well. There's enough people in that midfield for them to just say, right, you're not performing, you dropped. Someone else is taking your place, and that is exactly how it is. So I think it will be good. I think he can come good, and he's got enough competitions with Liverpool in the Champions League, FA Cup, and the Carabao Cup, whatever it's called, and the Premier League as well, that he will have opportunities to play, and he'll have opportunities to prove himself to Liverpool fans as well. And hopefully he does that. Now we're going to come on to Mohamed Salah, and Salah, for me, has been obviously the signing of the summer for us. Now we can also look at Naby Keita, and I'll look at that after this one, but Mohamed Salah for sure has been the signing of the summer, because he's had such an impact on Liverpool in the same way that Sadio Mane does. They both have pace, they're both very technically good players. They are not afraid to take on any defence anywhere, and they will drop back and they will help out, which you don't always get from some wingers. So I mean, that's very, very good. They're obviously not just wingers as well. They can play in the striking positions if need be. They're very flexible across that front line in any position. Obviously, if you remember, Mane played on the right-hand side last year. This year, he has mostly been playing on the left-hand side, while Salah has been playing on the right-hand side, and you don't really notice a difference. And then if you notice when I think Mane went off against Arsenal, he got subbed off, and I think he was subbed off for Sturridge. I might be wrong on that one as well. Can't remember who. Yeah. Anyway, never mind. He was subbed off, and Salah went over to the left-hand side. And when he was on the left-hand side, you didn't see any difference in his play. He was still just as good. Delivered that cross in for Sturridge to get his head on it and scored a goal from that one as well. And it was brilliant. He put in one hell of a performance against a team that isn't playing very well right now, but he took advantage of that. And the goal that he scored as well, nice, cool, calm and collected, slid it past Czech, and it was a very good goal. I've got no doubt that he will be a star player for us this season. I have absolutely no doubt, and I think when people look at it, £36 million or something like that, they were saying, you've well overpaid for someone like that, and you know, he was crap at Chelsea. It's like, look, that was a couple of years ago now. And he's only gotten better since then when he went to Roma, and I think he was at Fiorentina as well, and now he's at us. And he looks like he's doing very, very well. He is going to be a constant threat, just like Sadio Mane will be. Look, I'm very happy with that. He's a stupidly good player, and I think we're lucky to have a player like that, because it makes us so much more threatening going forward. Everything seems to be a bit more like about pace these days. If you've got pace in your team, man, it's amazing. And this is the thing about Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain as well, that him being in the midfield. What it would give us, you've got You've got Mane on the left-hand side or the right-hand side, and Salah on the right-hand side or the left-hand side. You've got pace there. Firmino, you've got his trickery up front, and he's doing very well. He's got good trickery, and he's got physicality and technique behind him as well. So he does really well holding up the ball and being a good number 9 striker. Then, if you put Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain in the midfield, he will give you pace through the middle. So then you've got it on the wings and the middle. And then you look at the left-back and the right-back positions. The left-back positions, you've got Andrew Robertson, maybe not the fastest, but he's still got pace and he's still very, very good. You've got Alberto Moreno, who is our fastest left-back and could easily be an attacking winger. He's very good going down that side. You've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, you've got Nathaniel Klein, you've got Joe Gomez, who's also got some good pace as well. It makes us threatening in so many different areas, as well as being able to track back as defensively as well. So I'm happy about that. Now, the one thing that I'm obviously not happy about is the Virgil van Dijk situation. I think it was a pure mistake to go in for just one centre-back, and we should have been able to actually look at, okay, Virgil van Dijk's our main target, but who could be a very good alternative to him? Instead, it looks like it's been like, I'm going to stick with this one, and, maybe we'll go for him in January. We could go for him next summer. But it was a mistake, because it is one of the positions that we don't have a lot of depth in. I know Joe Gomez he did prefer to play at centre-back. He wanted to be known as a centre-back, and that was from last year. Now he seems to be more of a right-back instead, and he started at left-back before he got injured when he was under Rodgers. I think it was under Rodgers anyway. I don't know. He can be flexible and play there, but he's still a young lad, and he's going to need time to, adapt to playing all the time. That would be a concern of mine, because we're only like one injury away, maybe even 2 injuries away from having to, whatever centre-back, having one proper centre-back like a Matip or a Lovren or Klavan partnered with Joe Gomez, and a very inexperienced in that position. So it's going to test Klopp, and the fact that he only wanted to go for Virgil van Dijk, and it was going to be very unlikely because of the way we messed up the transfer early on. We messed it up in the way that we went about it. We did not go about it in a professional way, and we were right to be told by Southampton to basically go and shove it. I can't say anything bad about Southampton's way of dealing with it, because they just went, no, you've been unprofessional about it, how you approached it in the first way, and we don't want to sell him. Now, whether that means he's going to be sat on the bench or whatever, he'll probably get reintegrated into the team, kind of like Coutinho will with us. If they can bring him round, and if not, they'll probably just go, okay, fine, you sit in the reserves till January or till next summer. They'd made a power play, and they were right to stick by it. They didn't have to cave. We had to be invited by Southampton to be able to make that transfer anyway after we'd messed it up, and they clearly didn't do that for us. So, yeah, we missed out on that centre-back, and he would have been excellent for us, I have no doubt, and he would have obviously given us much more solidity, and probably actually maybe given us like a B-plus transfer window, because we've actually addressed an area that has been a concern for so many years. But we didn't, and that is our fault. That is Liverpool's fault, and it's no one else's. It's not Southampton's fault for not selling him. It's just how it is. The whole Thomas Lemar thing as well, that would have been a nice bonus on top of what has been a pretty decent transfer window in terms of the ones that I've already talked about. But it wasn't a necessary one because of the signing of Naby Keita for next season. Now, obviously, if we did land Thomas Lemar this season, that would have been pretty great. And it would have given us so many more options, because he can play in the centre mid and he can play on the wings. Mainly left wing, I think, but I think he's more, would be a good centre mid option as well. But we didn't get him. Arsenal didn't get him either, and he's staying at Monaco. That is just how it is. There's talk that we could go back in for him, for Thomas Lemar and Virgil van Dijk in January, or maybe even next summer. And that'd be great. If it's for next summer, it depends, and even January, it depends how we're doing up until those points. So we've just kind of got to see how it is. We've got a good squad. We've got a very good first 11 when it's fit and everyone's firing. After that, though, I'm a little bit concerned, just because if you do lose, if you lose either of Mane or Salah, you do kind of lose the pace out of the team. Markovic has been named in the Premier League team, so I'm kind of surprised by that, but that also means you've got an alternative there if one of them does go down. He's not the best alternative, but he's an alternative nonetheless. And I know people aren't the biggest fan of him, but you need alternatives right now, and maybe that's what Klopp's looked at in including him. So I don't know. I'm giving the transfer window a C. I think we just could have done so much better. We had enough time. We should have dealt with things, especially the Virgil van Dijk situation. We should have dealt with that a lot much more professionally, but we didn't, and we paid the price for it. We didn't get a centre-back in, and this is our squad now. In my opinion, I think we're good enough to be at least top 4. in my personal opinion, I'm aiming for us to be top 3. Top 3 is definitely the aim. If we can push it any further than that, that'd be great. But we've got additional competition in the Champions League this season. We've got the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, whatever. We've got those, you know, we could be fighting on all fronts. If we can have one of those seasons where you've got, like, say, a Daniel Sturridge can stay fit and you've got an option there, or if our players can just stay fit throughout the whole season, that'd be amazing. But we're looking at months like September where we've got 6 games over like 3 or 4 weeks. Maybe 3 weeks, because we start on the 9th of September. Got 6 games in there. That's going to be an action-packed schedule for Liverpool, and it's going to be difficult to manage. But they're going to have to manage it now. We're going to have to maybe call on some youth players, some younger players, maybe even like a Marco Grujic. We've got, I can't even remember out of our youth players who have actually stayed. But that's what we're probably going to have to do. And I'm positive about that, because of the way the Jurgen Klopp can work with the youth and how he has worked with the youth so far. Can't even forget the fact that we've got the likes of Danny Ings to come back, who I sorely hope stays injury-free, the same as Daniel Sturridge. We've got very good forwards, and, you know, we've got forward options, we've got midfield options, we've got left-back and right-back options. It's just mainly centre-back and goalkeeper that concern me, because people know our centre-backs, you know, it depends who we partner up, but our centre-backs can be quite weak, and that could let us down. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Those are my thoughts anyway, my thoughts alone. If you do disagree with them or you agree with them, let me know in the comments below. Let's have a discussion about it. It'd be great to get your thoughts on it as well. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope that you can see some sense in what I'm talking about as well and where I'm coming from. I wanted to wait until the transfer windows had all ended before I tried making any sort of video about it and try and make some sense of what we've done this summer. So let me know what you think in the comments below. If you've enjoyed it, please like this video and share it around if you could. That'd be so great of you. Thank you ever so much for watching. As always, please do subscribe, and I'll catch you later.